Hi, Sweaty Jen back again. Today's video is going to be about resources, time, and money spent on hyperhidrosis and things related to hyperhidrosis. Before I get into this, I just want to show you my cat. Oh, here she is. Oh, hi, baby. Isn't she so cute? She's like, okay, let me go, bye. To start, I want to go over the most common treatments for hyperhidrosis that I'm aware of and talk about the cost of these treatments. So this is without insurance. If you have insurance, sometimes it will cover different treatments for hyperhidrosis. Sometimes I've heard of insurance not covering treatments for hyperhidrosis, which I find a bit ridiculous because this condition is like very impactful on our lives, so I think insurance should cover it. But the first treatment is DermaDry Total. So this is an iontophoresis machine that can be used for the hands, feet, and underarms. The cost of the machine is $265. And basically what the treatment does is it's mild electrical current that's passed through water in shallow pans or with pads. I've personally never tried iontophoresis before. I want to try it, but I've heard amazing results from people who have tried it. Okay, so the next thing is MiraDry. MiraDry ranges from $2,000 to $3,000 per treatment. It's non-invasive microwave technology. So what they do, as far as I understand, is they inject the treatment area with lidocaine shots, and then the MiraDry heats up and destroys sweat glands. So you're essentially just getting rid of the sweat glands. It's only approved by the FDA for the armpits right now, but I've also heard amazing things about MiraDry. It is more pricey per treatment than, you know, an iontophoresis device would be. Side effects of MiraDry are swelling, irritation, numbness, and tingling. It said also when I was researching online that thinner patients are at an increased risk for nerve injury because their nerves are sitting closer to the surface of the skin. You'll probably need 2 to 3 treatments to get like maximum results. It's pretty pricey, $2,000 to $3,000 per treatment. If you need 3 treatments at $3,000, that's $9,000. The next is Botox injections. I've heard about Botox injections probably for the longest. That was like the first treatment I had heard about, and it's a pretty common one too. So Botox costs around $1,000 for 100 units, and then an additional $500 with dermatologist fees. Right now, Botox is only FDA approved for the armpits. It will keep you dry, they say, for about 3 to 6 months, so it's not permanent. And then there's many possible side effects. Problems include swallowing issues, muscle weakness, vision problems, and headaches. And then the next is not really like an invasive treatment at all. They're the shirts that you can wear that prevent armpit stains. I have tried Office Undershirts shirt. So at www.officeundershirt.com, I got the black V-neck shirt. And so these shirts cost around like $25 to $30. I found these shirts work really well, particularly for the underarm area. But if you watched my interview with Carell, who founded Office Undershirt by himself, he's working on creating more prototypes, so not just shirts but also underwear, socks, and things of that nature. And so basically they're not going to cure your hyperhidrosis, but they're going to make just, you know, going out into public, that it's going to hide some of those sweat stains that you would normally get and the odors. So those are another treatment option that won't require surgery or medication, and it's a lot more affordable than, you know, MiraDry or something like that. The next is, as you probably know, glycopyrrolate or Robinol. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. So for 61 milligram tablets, you're looking at around $61. If you're taking the dose I take, which is 4 milligrams a day total, you're looking at about $122 for a month of medication. You can easily see how $122 a month can add up over a year's time. Luckily, my insurance covers it, and I think my prescription for a month was like $9. I'm not positive, but it was a lot more affordable than $122. Next is oxybutynin or Ditropan. Sorry if I pronounced those wrong again. For 65 milligram tablets, it's about $40 per month, so it's a little cheaper than the Glyco, but I'm not sure if that, 5 milligram tablets, 65 milligram tablets, if that's like a very small dose, and people typically take more, of course the price will increase with the amount of medication you're getting. So side effects to those medicines are dry mouth, dry eyes, blurred vision, urinary retention, and even more than that. You can see my video I've made, it was called glycopyrrolate side effects or something. I'll link the video down below if you're interested in watching that. Next is Carpe. Carpe is like essentially a cream / lotion. It's a topical treatment, so you would apply it to the area that you want reduced sweating in, and they make ones for the hands, feet, face, underarm, groin. I believe they've got all different types now. If you went to purchase the Carpe head to toe kit, which comes with 1 hand cream, 1 foot cream, 1 face cream, and 1 underarm cream, that is currently on sale for $50 the last I checked, but it's usually $70. So known side effects of topical treatments like Carpe are dry and itchy skin. Carpe has produced some excellent results too. They have some testimonies, and they just released some commercials. Everybody was like, Jen, you gotta watch this Carpe commercial, because they know I have hyperhidrosis. Next treatment is Drysol or aluminum chloride. I've also tried this treatment. So for a 35-gram container, it's around $15 to $30. Side effects are burning, redness, swelling, and itching of the treated area. I know I experienced all of those side effects when I took it. It didn't really work out for me personally, but as with all treatments, some people have great results, some people don't. So, you never know if it'll work for you or not until you give it a try yourself. The next treatment is endoscopic thoracic sympathectomy. That's a mouthful. Or ETS for short. A surgeon goes in and tries to stop your body from sending nerve signals to the sweat glands, and they cut and destroy certain nerves. Again, I've never had this done, but I've heard some people have good results. Some people have had really bad horror stories too. So for ETS, it's going to set you back about $10,000 to $20,000, not including anesthesia and medication, which could be around $10 to $100 additional dollars. So it's kind of similar to Miradry. If you get like the 3 Miradry treatments not covered by insurance for $3,000, it's about $9,000, and then this ETS is $10,000 to $20,000. It's a big range, but that's the best I could really find in terms of cost. Side effects of ETS are compensatory sweating. I'm really sorry about my pronunciation. Basically, so compensatory sweating is when, so say you got some treatment on your hands, and so then basically what will happen is you'll start sweating from your back or your head instead of your hands. And then some other side effects of ETS are drooping eyelids, sweating after eating, numbness or paralysis, weakness, decreased heart rate, and dry facial skin. So that was most of the treatments for hyperhidrosis and their cost without insurance. The next bit I'm going to go on to is more of like resources and a bit of the money aspect that we have to go through. So the first thing I wanted to touch on with resources was antidepressants. So a lot of people with hyperhidrosis do end up taking some kind of medication for anxiety, depression, ADHD, or so on. You can check out my video about hyperhidrosis and mental illness if you're interested. But so antidepressants, if you need them, those will set you back $40 to $75 per month, or sometimes even upwards of $200 a month. And remember, this is without insurance. So that's another big chunk of money spent on medicine that's likely related to having hyperhidrosis that a normal person wouldn't have had to spend that month. A lot of people with hyperhidrosis, myself included, have had to go to therapy for certain mental problems or social problems, and therapy is about $20 to $250 per hour, and most people are going to need multiple sessions to get the maximum benefit from therapy. I know for me with insurance, I think it was $60 per session, but I'm not positive. So then showers. People with hyperhidrosis generally shower more than the general population. And if you shower once per day for 10 minutes per day for a month, that's $60. And so I know most normal people, like, they will shower every day too, but I know, like, for me, I usually will wash my body once per day, but I won't wash my hair every day. But a lot of girls I know will actually, like, they won't get wet at all in the meantime. But, like, because I have hyperhidrosis, I feel the need to clean everything again with soap and water. So just water bill alone is probably more for somebody with hyperhidrosis if they take regular showers and stuff to wash off sweat. Another reason I use extra water is, like, if my feet are sweating and I don't have socks on and I go walking around the house, every bit of hair, dirt, dust, and dander will attach to my foot like it's a Swiffer, and then I have to use water to wash off my feet because nobody really wants a bunch of gross floor dirt on their feet. The next is socks. So I know for me and a lot of other hyperhidrosis sufferers, we go through socks pretty fast. It's not that they're necessarily like ruined after one use just because we sweat in them, but I think our socks probably get more wear and tear than somebody without. I know for me, a lot of my socks end up getting holes really quickly. I don't know if the sweat makes the fabric break down faster. And then also my socks, sorry, this is kind of gross, but they'll get like crusty after a while, no matter how well I wash them. I think just like the salt or something in the sweat ruins certain fabrics and makes them very, like, I guess crusty is the best word for it. So I've ruined lots of socks that way. I'm sure you have too. And for a 6-pack of socks, it's going to set you back $10 or more for fancier socks. Dress shirts get ruined extremely fast because of pit stains. Those can range quite a bit too, as with all clothes, but I would say on average they cost around $50. So for someone with hyperhidrosis, we sweat in a dress shirt one time and it's, most likely got a yellow pit stain forming. Office undershirts they have the padding to prevent pit stains, so you can save a lot of money on dress shirts by using those. Otherwise, if you don't, the shirt's probably going to get ruined, and most people without hyperhidrosis, a dress shirt will last them years without getting ruined. I've also heard some people with underarm sweating experience tears in their shirt, like where the stitching is. It'll actually physically like come undone and a hole will come. And I don't know if that's from sweat or what, but I've heard that too. The next is t-shirts, same as the dress shirts. Each t-shirt will cost around $10 to $30 depending. Mattresses. I know some people with hyperhidrosis, especially if they get it all over their body, the mattress can become ruined fairly quickly, and mattresses are not cheap by any means. Those typically cost an average of $1,000 to replace. You can of course get a mattress cover if you want to extend the life of your mattress, but if it got ruined by sweat, it's not cheap to replace by any means. Oh, the next is smartphones. I know for a fact I've ruined at least 2 or 3 smartphones from my sweaty hands. So what will happen is I'll be holding my phone, and I think what my hand sweat will go into the charging port, and it eventually will corrode the equipment inside of the phone. And even on water resistant phones, salt water or sweat can corrode these elements, and I've had numerous amounts of phones have the charging port break. Actually, my current phone's charging port is kind of breaking, and phones are obviously very expensive. It's about $800 for a smartphone. So yeah, be careful with that charging port. And if you want to get a phone case that will keep your sweat from getting into the charging port, you'll probably have to get an OtterBox phone case, which is, I think, close to $100. The next is dress shoes. So I know for a fact my shoes get worn out a lot faster than a normal person. They get ruined a lot faster. Dress shoes, like made of leather or some pretty decent quality dress shoe. I don't know why I always want to do air quotes when they're not needed, but dress shoes get ruined, and those cost like $150 for a pretty decent pair, like off of Nordstrom's or something. And so what happens is the sweat eventually starts to ruin the leather. It starts stretching the shoe out. The smell, of course. Holes can be made. The lining inside of the shoe certainly gets ruined and very well used. And so dress shoes cost a lot of money, and to have to replace those more than a normal person is just another expense that people with hyperhidrosis have to deal with that somebody without it wouldn't have to deal with. Next is foot powder. That's about $10. It's not an extremely large amount of money, but all of these little things do add up with time. So the foot powder will help prevent some sweat and smells. If you do 1 load of laundry per week, that's about $1.27 worth of laundry. But I would say people with hyperhidrosis do a lot more laundry than normal people. Like, I know for me, especially before I was taking glycopyrrolate, my parents would always yell at me when I was younger. They'd be like, why do you need to go through 3 outfits every day? And it was honestly because like I'd wake up and I'd put my my outfit on for the morning. After I would get home from school, it would be drenched with sweat, so I would change into another outfit, and then before bed that outfit would also be drenched with sweat, so I'd change into new pajamas, and the cycle would repeat. So I was going through like 3 outfits per day, sometimes more. If I was like going out that night with friends, I wanted to put on like another fresh outfit. So I think people with hyperhidrosis probably do at least double or triple the amount of laundry that someone without it does. And again, $1.27-ish per load of laundry might not seem like much, but it does add up with time for sure. Gloves for the hands, winter gloves. Most of mine have been ruined and replaced multiple times. Gloves cost about $25. They get ruined with smell, stains, and just general ruining of the materials and holes. So being from Chicago, we get a lot of snow here. I wear gloves quite a bit, and I noticed when my hands would be sweating, like I've actually, you know how some gloves, they have like the outer glove and then there's like another glove inside the outer glove? a lot of times, I don't know if it's my sweat breaking material down or what, but I get holes in the inner gloves so much, and then they start to smell, and then, you know, from the sweat, and then I try to wash the gloves to make them like new, and then they get ruined even more because I washed them, and it's just another one of those things that we have to replace more than normal. This one is huge for the girls. Handbags or purses. The handles get absolutely destroyed. Every single one of my purses, you can look at the handles and see signs of use and possibly sweat marks and things like that. And purses are not cheap. I think a lot of us ladies, or if you're a guy and you use a purse as well, I think a lot of us go for more cheap purses simply because we know they're going to get ruined from our sweat on the handles. Like, I had this absolutely stunning brown leather purse that I loved, and I ended up having to get rid of it because my sweat like dissolved the leather on the handles or something. Sorry if that's gross, but purses can generally range from about $100 to upwards of $3,000 if you're going for something like Chanel or Gucci. But yeah, purses get ruined pretty easily. And then if you're using topical treatments like Drysol or Carpe, generally there's quite a bit of a smell to those items. And so like if you have a nice purse and you're putting your Carpe or whatever topical treatment into your purse, that treatment could either leak and ruin the purse, which is another form of destruction that wouldn't have happened had we not had hyperhidrosis, or just the smell in general can permeate through the leather and make your purse permanently smell like hyperhidrosis treatment, which is what we all want our purses to smell like, isn't it? The next is another big one, and that's jewelry. So I've experienced, even with expensive jewelry, my sweat has seemed to ruin jewelry pretty quickly. I've seen, you know, with rings specifically, supposed expensive rings have gotten ruined with my sweat, whether it was tarnishing or turning the material a different color like green or black. And jewelry is not cheap by any means. Most jewelry, this is including like costume jewelry from Target and stuff, but jewelry costs about $10 to $10,000. So really expensive jewelry getting ruined by hyperhidrosis would be a real shame, because $10,000 for like a really fancy ring or something is obviously not cheap for anyone. Next is just water. So unfortunately, water is, you know, clean water that's not from the tap. It's not free. If you're getting, you know, those big gallons of spring water or bottled water, even water filters, so on and so forth, we, as people with hyperhidrosis, I think we go through a lot more water than the average person would, just rehydrating ourselves after so much loss of fluids. So the price of water is also going to add up. Same with, you know, the price of laundry and showering and stuff. It's not free, and it does add up. And we didn't choose to have hyperhidrosis, yet we have all these extra hidden expenses that we have to worry about that most people don't. Next is game controllers or handheld games. So I've ruined PlayStation controllers, I've ruined Nintendo DS's, I've ruined GameCube controllers. Basically anything that's going to be held by my sweaty hands for an extended period of time, I've experienced it getting ruined. And controllers and handheld games are also not cheap. A PlayStation 4 controller costs, I think, $65 or $60. And then something like let's say something like a Nintendo Switch is around $400. So if your sweat ruins that, you'll have to replace that if you choose to for another $400. And I know I have a PlayStation 4 and I had 2 controllers for it. I don't know if it was from my sweating or what, but they had to be replaced. Well, we only replaced one of them. Oh, and going back to resources used, I know I mentioned therapy being another expense. I did also want to mention that we generally go to the doctors more often in general because of other issues related to hyperhidrosis or just because of hyperhidrosis in general. We also go to the dermatologist more in general for treatment. So doctor's visits are generally about $150 to $300, and dermatologist visits are about $100 to $200. So I did want to mention that as well. Another thing we have to replace more than the normal person are hats. I know especially with, head or face or scalp sweating, hats typically get quite stained with sweat, and a lot of times it doesn't ever go back to perfectly brand new. So replacing a hat, I would say most hats cost around $20 to $40, if not more. And then just so many clothes in general. I would say we waste a lot more money on clothes that we buy and we never wear. I'm sure I'm not alone in this, where I've bought clothes that I try on and I know they're not going to work for me with my hyperhidrosis, but I just love how they look, and I hope to God a day comes where I can wear it, and then that day never comes, or it's just made out of a material that doesn't work with my hyperhidrosis. And so I don't even want to think about how much money I've spent on clothes that I've bought in hopes of wearing, only to find out that my hyperhidrosis prevents me from doing so. So whether it's because of the fabric it was made out of, or the color, or what have you, I would say people with hyperhidrosis spend a lot more money just buying clothes that we never wear than somebody without hyperhidrosis. Next is time spent on hyperhidrosis. And I am so sure that I've missed a lot of things here, but these are the ones I could think of. So I spend time changing clothes, blow drying my clothes, or using like a fan in the restroom to try to dry my clothes. Explaining to people why we're sweating can take a good amount of time, especially if they're genuinely curious about our sweating. So it's not necessarily that this time is wasted, it's just time used that wouldn't have been used had we not had hyperhidrosis. So explaining to people why we're sweating, I think that we've all spent a decent amount of time explaining ourselves, or just in general, we've spent a lot of times worrying about people noticing us. I mean, we've spent time on thoughts regarding hyperhidrosis that could have been spent on something else. And, it's not necessarily a waste, but it's still time spent. I hope that makes sense. So we also spend time doing treatments like iontophoresis. We spend time just doing things in general to alleviate our hyperhidrosis. So, applying topical treatments and letting them dry, that takes time as well. Anything like that, going to get Botox, surgery in general, going to the doctor, dermatologist, all of these things take time. Taking medication, I know this takes time for me too. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the middle of like a really good conversation with somebody only to have the alarm on my phone start going off to take my Glyco, and I have to stop my conversation, go find my medicine, take it, and come back and hope that I can resume the conversation where I left off. So that's time spent. I've spent lots of times just sitting in front of a fan to control my sweating, because for some reason fans blowing on me keeps my sweating down. We spend time finding climates that are comfortable to live in or just be in general. So I know a lot of people on the subreddit have talked about traveling to different places to find a place that they can live comfortably, like climates that have lower humidity or colder climates. We spend time during events, like I know for me, I spend time, if I'm at a pool party, for example, I'll spend time having to go inside to cool off and then go back outside and go back inside just to keep my sweating down. And that's time that could have been spent laughing with friends and family. And then also we spend time planning and preparing for an event around our hyperhidrosis. So we have to think about, okay, what time is it going to be? What temperature is it going to be? Is it going to be raining? Is it going to be sunny out? Is it going to be indoors or outdoors? What outfit am I going to wear? Do I need to bring a change of clothes? You know, all of this is time spent thinking about things that if we didn't have hyperhidrosis, we wouldn't be thinking about at all. And so that was most of the things I could think of. Also, just a fun story about how the Glyco's been working out. As usual, still at times if I get like ultra stressed, ultra hot, etc., I still sweat. But the other day something really awesome happened. I work with somebody who likes to do magic tricks, and I've known this person for so long, so many years, and he would always try to do magic tricks with me, and I would feel kind of uncomfortable because a lot of times they're like, okay, hold out your hands or take this item from me and hold on to it. And I'd be like, great, my sweat is gonna get all over their magic card and ruin it, or whatever the case may be. And for some reason the other day he wanted to show me a magic trick. He's like, hold out your hands, and I was sweat free, and I was able to witness this magic trick without my sweating being the forefront thought of my mind. I mean, it kind of was still the forefront thought in my mind because I was like, this is so cool that I'm able to like actually do this right now without sweating. That was awesome, and just another testament to how awesome the Glyco's been. I am having some like real intense dryness though, like super dry mouth and sinuses and everything. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. Part of me is tempted to try to decrease the dose a little bit, but I'll let you know what I do. Anyways, let me know if you thought of anything that I missed. Let me know if you have any video ideas you want to see. I hope you are all having a great day. I appreciate you coming and watching so much, and I love you all, and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.